My first ever E3, where I basically knew no one. I was over there with a few other like Aussie journalist people who are more in their like 30s though, and the Aussie journalists are really really nice, but they probably don't go to the like YouTube more focused parties as
They're
much.
not getting lit with the kids.
They're not getting lit. They're not getting down. They're having beers in the hotel lobby, which is great, but. It was my first E3. I was on the hustle. I needed to get into the parties with the cool kids. Because this is back where, like, if I saw a YouTuber that I'd watched, I would be, like, starstruck, And those parties, that's where the YouTubers are. So beyond just being a party and beyond any of those other things we talked about before, at this stage, it was like, oh my God, this is a chance to, like, meet people and, like, casually segue into conversations with them in a social setting and pretend like I'm totally not freaking out about the fact that I've watched them for 5 years. And yeah, I remember the first ever my like party YouTube party experience got off to like one of the weirdest starts, because the first like real proper one I have any memory of going to was the Monster Cat party. Monster Cat throws this legendary party pretty much every single E3 where
and it's usually on the first night.
Yeah. It's normally early on where everyone's still fresh. So everyone's like keen and hyped to get going. They normally have they hire out. It's the same nightclub every year. It's just, they put on the craziest party and they get like insane DJs for it. It's always just like the one that people want to get into. And, but the thing was, I didn't really know anyone then yet. I was really not big enough to actually ever get an invite for it. But luckily, the party had 2 levels. It had the ground floor, which was like kind of like general admission, where at this stage on that year, I think it was like when you rock up at the door, you can go in. Then it had the VIP level, which was like invite only. I went into the GA level, and I remember the first funny part of that story was when I got there on the night. Obviously, in Australia, the drinking age is 18. Like you have to be 18. You can go out and do whatever you want. I was 20 when this happened, and I'd totally forgotten that the drinking age in America was 21. Anyway, but it was like as I got up to the door and the guy was doing all the ID checks, after I'd lined up for half an hour, I was like, oh crap, it's 21. I'm 20. I'm absolutely screwed. But I was like, shit, I'm in too deep right now. I give him my ID, and he looks at it, and I swear I still vividly remember him staring at it for like 10, 20 seconds, it felt like. And then he handed it back.
Slowed down.
And then he handed it back to me. It was like, go in. And I was like, wait, what happened? I'm so confused. And then I remembered. Australia does their their date thing. We go day, month, year, like a logical person. America is a bunch of crazy people, and for some reason that doesn't make sense, they go month, day, year. So he saw my ID, and I think he just got confused. He couldn't tell because I was in the right year, but I just hadn't actually, because my birthday's later in the year. I hadn't swapped over yet.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, so by a complete confusion of month and day, I managed to get into my first YouTube party. Sorry, my first E3 party, and I wasn't even of age yet. So that was a great win. Anyway, though, I think
love that.
Yeah. That was like I'd already met, and I think I'm gonna go through this story relatively quickly because I feel like there's so many bigger and cooler stories, but this one's so funny to me just because of how weird like a time this was. I don't know who remembers and who really was in the YouTube scene like 4 or 5 years ago. You might remember a name called Zoe Berger and Celestia Vega, I believe her name is. And anyway, they were these it was this trend of these like YouTubers who started this like this thing going where it was like, when I hit 1 million subscribers, I'm going to drop my nudes. And it was like, so it was this thing where their content was like really non-existent, but it was just the first time where there was like, like a girl like that on YouTube. And there was this like thing going, it was like, we need to get her to 1 million subscribers because then, like nudes at 1 million. And it was this whole big thing on YouTube at the time. Anyway, get into this party. And I remember I was chatting a lot with Geordie and Azzy because they, at that point, like I'd met them really recently, but, Geordie was a really cool guy and he was very, very accepting and friendly and easy to chat with. So I spent a lot of time talking to him. Anyway, at some point, and this is the part where I'm going to remove and add a little bit of anonymity because I feel like it would be a dick move otherwise. There was a Twitch streamer there who was, at the time, I would say one of the most well-known streamers on the platform. did a lot of like IRL content, especially. Anyway, he at some point our groups merged, and he was chatting with Zoe Berger and Celestia Vega, and me and Geordie and Azzy were kind of chatting with him, like kind of merged those groups together, and we were talking. Anyways, we enter the convo. I hear this unnamed Twitch streamer once again talking about his sick, like, Hollywood, like, pad that was like a penthouse apartment, and how, like, oh my God, man, I've got like bottles everywhere, and it's just like absolutely sick. It's like got the best view of the hills, and it's like this insane pad. Like, you girls have got to come back. Like, he's clearly like trying to lay it on. Trying to lay it on so thick to get these girls who are a little bit notorious, right, to come back to his place. So at least, you know, like, he can like keep the conversation going, maybe, you know. Anyway,
so they say.
yeah. Anyway, I think anyway, at some point the conversation moved to, all right, like, this party's winding down a bit. Let's go check out his apartment. And I think the thing was that because like it became a group conversation, there was no neat way for him to be like, oh no, I'm just going to go back with the girls. No one else is invited. Because the girls would have been like, what the hell? No, that's weird. Like, we're having a chat with everyone. Like, everyone's coming. So anyway, we all pile into these Escalades out the front of the party, and we go to Hollywood.
You're like, this is my first E3.
I'm like, dude,
missing this.
I was just there, and I was like, this shit just doesn't happen in Australia, man. Like, legitimately, I was 100% just like, I was like, I'm following this train. Like, this could go to a really weird place, or this could go nowhere. I need to know, you know, like, this is just like, I didn't know that these things that I normally only like see in like TV shows and hear about is like, people, this actually happens. Anyway.
You're like, I'm about to go to this massive streamer's penthouse.
Oh my God. And I was like, and it's like
alcohol all night with these girls.
Yeah. And I was like, this could get really, really weird. Anyway, I was just, but also like, you know, I was very much just like, my motivation was fully like, I just need to see what happens. Like, it was this fascination. I was like watching a nature documentary, but it was like YouTube, you know? It was like, it was like YouTuber parties, because this was all new to me at the time. Anyway, we get there, you know, like, go into the lobby, go up this elevator, and then we walk out in this hallway, and I'm like, oh, there's like it almost felt like a hotel hallway, you know? There's apartment buildings where there's just so many apartments. Anyway, that was like the first red flag. And then we open the door to the apartment, and it is that's like, you know, I'm not hating on anyone, but like, man, it was one of the like saddest places I'd ever walked. I think it had one bedroom and one bathroom, which once again, totally fine.
Wasn't it like a mattress on the floor?
That's it. The furniture is what really sticks out to me. The bedroom was a mattress on the floor, and the couch was like, I actually don't, I think there was like one like $40 armchair, and everyone else was just kind of like sitting on the ground because there were no chairs in this apartment. And I don't even think there was a TV from memory, like, or anything else. It was like a shell. And then we go, and like, the girls were immediately like, oh man, we just got scammed hard. But they were like, you know what? We've come this far. They were like, oh, cool. So where's the alcohol? And he was like, I got this half bottle of red wine. And it was just immediately the
girls were like, bro, where's the Grey Goose?
Oh my, yeah. Anyway, the night, and then I was very quickly like, oh my God, this is just so, like, I felt really bad, but like,
was everyone not like, dude, where's the penthouse at?
But like, I think you don't want to be mean, right? You know, like, because like, But also, no, like, he fully played himself.
Gaslit everyone.
Yeah, he fully backed himself into this corner. Like, I don't know what he thought would happen. Like, he would talk about all this crazy shit and then get there, and it would just somehow not be, like, he would somehow magic a penthouse out of nowhere. Anyway, though, like,
what a first experience.
It wound down pretty quickly after that. It was kind of like, I think one of the girls like fell asleep on the floor, and then I think Zoe was like, all right, we're gonna go, and like picked her up and went, and then I was like, yeah, okay, this was an experience. Anyway, I think he was.
Did you ever see that guy again, the streamer?
No, I don't think I've ever seen him again.